Hey guys, it's your buddy Dustin from Blue Collar Gear Review, bringing you something special today. Might not seem special at surface level, but this is the MXR Phase 90. It is one of my favorite phasers that are on the market. There are tons of these out there in other brands. There are even other versions of this particular pedal. This is your standard version. This is not the script version where the writing's different and they've done some under the hood changes. Basic run-of-the-mill phaser. Speed knob, and then of course your off and on switch. That's the functionality of the pedal. Today we're going to take a quick look at how this pedal behaves in the effects loop of a solid state amp versus a tube amp. There is a known issue. I personally don't see it as an issue unless you're really just die hard with having this in the loop of a head or a combo or an amp. But there's a very odd volume spike when you plug this into the effects loop of a tube head versus a solid state head. And many of the guys online who are far more savvy with tube technology and tube terminology, there's something to do with some of the inverter, phase inverters and power handling of certain things. But this essentially will have this really odd volume jump when it's paired in the effects loop of a tube head. And there's some workarounds. So let's dive in. Let's hear this. Let's hear the sound samples. And let's see that happen. I'll be using a decibel meter on camera so you can see the change in the volume from a, of course, a solid state combo to a tube effects loop. And hopefully it shows how this pedal is behaving, and I'll then kind of tell you how I'll work around the issue. All right, guys. So I hope you could see the decibel meter read itself a little differently using the MXR Phase 90 in the effects loop of a solid state combo amp. Again, it's a 100-watt solid state, nothing super special, nothing fancy. I mainly use it for this purpose to demo pedals and demo pickups and things of that nature without coloring the tone with tube power. I know there's some conversation around tubes and transformers and how it can affect tone, which that's certainly a true statement. And I also hope that you guys can see when I took this down to the bigger studio where I use my PV5152 and using that in the effects loop of that amp. This pedal is known to respond differently to tube amps in the effects loop versus the front of the chain, and the decibel meter also echoed that same thing. Is it desirable for me? No, I don't really like it. So what I do is I run this pedal in the front chain of my pedals, and for the slight few phrases I use it, it's not that big of a deal. There are conversations online about going inside, going under the hood, and clipping some stuff and clipping this and doing that. And I really, before I just go tear up a good pedal because I really don't know enough about that kind of stuff to do it, I just essentially run it in a different way, and it works for me the way I need it to. So I'll summarize and say if you're using this in a solid state combo or however you're using it that way, it will likely respond in the effects loop or wherever you want to place it. But be mindful that if you are using a high gain tube amp, in my case I'm using a 5152, in the effects loop it just behaves very strangely and it increases the volume and things like that. And there's no real way to control that unless you go inside and do some stuff, which I am not comfortable doing. Would I recommend this pedal? Absolutely. Just I know from my experience and from what I've read online, it behaves strangely, so I account for that. This pedal's not very expensive. If you're looking for a phaser to do that job for you and your sound, this is an excellent one, and there's workarounds to that, again, air quote, issue that's out there. So I know there's lots of talk online about it. I hope that this video demonstrated and illustrated how it does behave in those circumstances, scenarios. Again, I always just want to try to provide educational content so that you as a working musician can make some decisions before you go out and buy stuff. Or if this helped you buy that pedal, then that's cool too. But either way, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.